Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and we've got the last car market update of the year, or at least for my channel. Before we get into this video, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below, and some of the information provided in today's video comes from Cox Automotive. Let's dive right into it. So let's start things off with some data from good old Cox Automotive. They estimate that 2023 is going to end with 15.5 million new vehicle sales between fleet and retail. Most of those sales are from retail, but most of the gains we've seen this year have been from fleet. Now, 2022 saw 13.9 million vehicles sold, so this is a big improvement. But prior to the pandemic, the new car market would see usually around 17 million new vehicles sold per year. So we're still not to pre-pandemic levels when it comes to volume. Now, something that's very interesting is this sales month is going to end with a year-over-year pacing of only 15.1 million units, which means that although we've had huge year-over-year gains within the new car market, we're already seeing some weakness that's going to translate into potentially a much smaller new car market next year compared to what we saw this year, which is definitely not a good sign. But despite that, this sales month of December has been pretty good. It's better than last year, and it's also better than last month. I've kind of talked about this. Last month was not a good month for the automotive industry, and this month is stronger, 10.4% increase this month so far. So that is definitely an improvement overall. Now, the next thing to note is some of the brands that did well this year versus the brands that did not do all that well. Honda, Nissan, General Motors, and Tesla all did really well. Hyundai as well. And the thing that's really cool about Hyundai is they passed Stellantis up in terms of sales volume this year. So Stellantis got dethroned as one of the biggest automakers. I mean, they're still one of the biggest in the US, but they got kicked down a notch. And if you're wondering, General Motors is going to finish the year as the biggest automaker here in the US. They are dethroning Toyota. Toyota's actually kind of had somewhat of a rough year. They've had the lowest day supply in terms of inventory this entire year. And so with Toyota, the reason why they haven't sold as many cars as they could have this year is less about people not buying their cars, and it's more about them not being able to produce as much cars. So we'll see what happens next year. I think that'll be pretty interesting. Now, the next thing is going to be inventory that is available right now. And this is, I think, going to translate to an interesting year next year. We'll talk about that later. But 2.56 million vehicles will most likely still be on dealer lots at the end of December. And that represents a 71-day supply, which is above what the industry considers ideal. Ideal is around a 60-day supply. And this is not quite to pre-pandemic levels. Prior to the pandemic, the average industry day supply number was in the 90-day range. So yeah, it's not as bad as it was prior to the pandemic, but we're getting up there. We're definitely getting up there when it comes to inventory levels. And if you're wondering, the amount of inventory available back then was well over 3 million units. It was pretty crazy overall. Now, the last thing to note is if you look at the increase, year over year with most automakers, in terms of their market share gains, it's actually not all that much. So there was a little bit of jostling back and forth, but things didn't change all that much. The one that had the biggest change was Honda, 1.3% increase. That was definitely a big difference overall. Now, capping things off, Cox Automotive basically says that going into 2024, they think that 2024 is going to be more of a buyer's market rather than a seller's market because of the inventory available and because of the lower demand. Now, we are going to bring in some Ben Hardy data because I want to basically show you guys something that I thought was interesting. So I did a survey on my channel, and I surveyed basically just what powertrain are people most interested in. And the powertrain options were diesel, gas, hybrid, plug-in hybrid, fully electric. 11,000 people voted so far. Most surveys you see out there only have, maybe like 1,000 people surveyed. So this is a, pretty decent sized survey. 17% said diesel, 53% said gas, 17% said hybrid, and 7% said plug-in hybrid, and 7% said fully electric. So now I want to pull all of this together to talk about what this means for the car market moving forward. So yeah, I do agree with Cox Automotive that next year is going to be more of a buyer's market, because frankly, that is what we are already seeing right now, where it is more of a buyer's market today, because you see huge discounts. I mean, Stellantis that is not having a great year, like they're going to see year over year declines. They've got like a 10% rebate on their Ram trucks, and that's before dealer discounts. And so some of these trucks after dealer discount are like $20,000 off of original MSRP. I mean, that is a huge difference. And so, yeah, we're already like in a buyer's market, and I think it's just going to continue next year, especially with the fact that we're seeing inventory levels only increase at the same time that it looks like the amount of sales happening every single month is slowed down. So there's going to be more inventory, fewer buyers. So that's the definition of what you would see as a buyer's market. But I do think we're going to see a big transition in the automotive industry next year. So again, that survey I think is really important. I know you guys might be like, Ben, it's just a survey on your channel, but here's the deal. With my channel, it is a varied audience. Like most of my audience is, US based. It's like 70, 80% depending on the month. And so, yeah, that many people voting in favor of either just plain old gas cars, diesels, or regular hybrids and not electric or fully electric, I think is going to translate into us seeing a bigger pullback from going fully electric with traditional automakers, because there's been just this huge push for fully electric. And right now the market share with fully electric cars is at 7%. And my survey said that only 7% of people are interested. So that means that basically everyone that's already bought an electric car, like that's it. Like there's not really more interest apart from that. So I do find that pretty fascinating. So yeah, moving forward, I think we're going to see a pretty big transition with automakers focusing more on traditional ICE cars and away from the plug-in hybrids and the fully electric, because there's just not enough demand for that. And then we're going to see this happen at the same exact time that we're going to most likely see bigger discounts unless automakers just want to produce fewer cars. We might see that. We might see automakers pull back and just produce fewer vehicles because they know there's going to be a smaller market, and so that might cause there to be not as much discount, right, where they just kind of try to pull some strings. But again, people have said it in the past, and I'll say it again, that it just takes one automaker to just mass produce vehicles, flood the market for the other automakers to kind of have to follow suit if they don't want to lose a bunch of market share and lose, a bunch of future customers when it comes to vehicles, right, and then also servicing and parts and all of that. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation, and let me know what you guys think about what's going to happen in the car market moving forward into next year. Do you think it's going to be a good market for buyers, or do you think it's going to be a meh market? I'll see you.